everyone. I just wanted to hop on real quick today and show you how super simple it is to create a timeline of history binder. If you've been following along with the free ancient history series or even the American Girl series, I talk a lot about creating a history binder, and so I thought I would show you what one looked like and show you just how easy it is to make. First, you don't need very much, probably things you have already at home. I recommend at least 1.5 inches to a 2-inch large 3-ring binder. If you have younger kids, you could get away with a smaller one, but you're gonna wanna add so many things to this binder, and you probably will wanna keep it for years and keep adding to it as you study history and even all the other topics that you are learning about in school. You will notice that some of the pages that I have in here are from a long time ago. So I still have my timeline binders from when my kids were little, and they're all in their late 20s. So anyway, I just wanted to show you an example of how I would make it. You need a binder, a 3-ring hole punch, definitely, so the holes line up quick and easy, and also these sheet protectors are awesome. You can just slide whatever you need in between these pages, and it goes right into your timeline. They're great to put brochures from field trips, photos that you take. If you go to an art museum, for example, and they have a display of ancient Greek pottery, take some pictures with your children and slide them in, and then stick them under the ancient Greek section of your history timeline. So let's look inside what goes in the history timeline. All right, so the first thing you see is a divider of an era of history. I made these chronological history printables just recently, and they make this super easy, but you can definitely make your own or have your kids create their own. So in this packet of printables, you're going to find things like the dividers for each time in history. You'll find ancient civilizations all the way up through modern American history. I have a colored page that's already done for you, place to put the dates, and then also a black and white page that your kids can color. So here's an example of that for the ancient civilizations. I also have 2 different types of timelines. One that has the people, events, places, and notes already done for you. Here's the timeline. You can add the specific date if you would like, or you could add increments of 100 years. And then if you want to add closer together dates, you can. The other one is just a plain, simple timeline, very standard. This is a great spot. Kids can write, you can attach pictures, anything you want, or just write the date. You could do bullet points with different things that are happening or different people. But this is how I like to do it. So also in this packet, I have included 3 sections. You'll notice that all of my unit studies pretty much have these sections. Actually, there's 4 different things here, but there's 3 major sections. We have events in history. And with that, there's a place to put the event, make a little drawing. You can print something online, cut it out and stick it in there, whatever you guys like to do. If you have creative kids, they might want to draw a cartoon. My son loved to do that. And then just little boxes where you can just in brief write the event in history, and then of course the timeline again to add that. So you print out as many of these as you need and just keep adding them into your timelines. You can separate your timeline just by these 3 things. People in history is just like the events, except it's specific to famous people in history that you want to add. Think outside the box too. Think scientists, think artists, all those kind of things, mathematicians, and not just famous people for history. Also, places in history, same idea. So you can divide your timeline binder into these 3 sections for each unit of study, or I'll show you some more ideas on how to do it. I also included in that packet history vocabulary. It is fully explained in my ancient world history curriculum, how to use this as part of your history notebook, and I'll link that in the below. All right, so 2 different ones, one for a younger group and then one for older kiddos. All right, so back to the timeline. All right, so we have ancient civilizations to start with, and then you just start adding all of the events and people and places that you are learning about in order into your timeline. My kids loved to draw and color, and so this was probably made when my daughter was about 6, maybe even 5. So this is a very beginning one, but you see, we just drew a line and put a date on it. My older children wrote on this side of the page, did little either narration or copy work, or they wrote themselves just little summary. Bullet points would be good to use for early writers, but this should give you an idea. Yes, Enoch and Methuselah, they are looking lively there. We also had a really fun, I think it was called Big Book of Bible Fun, and we could copy pages out of that, coloring things, and add it into your timeline. I have lots of links for coloring pages for each day's unit of study, so you can print those off and add them in. I just wanted to give you an idea of how easy it is when you come across maps that are really good. You just add them in. One of the great benefits of using a history notebook is that every time your child flips through to add a page into their notebook, it's like a mini review, and it locks the chronological image into their head. While they may not know the dates exactly for each thing that has happened in history, they're going to know the order that those things come in. So it's a really, really great way to review without having to review. So you can see some of the things you can add in. Another benefit and bonus of using a history timeline binder is that you can see how different events that we probably studied in history and thought very separate from one another, how they overlap and are not separate at all. For example, if you're learning about Moses and the burning bush, that is also happening in ancient Egypt. Learn about who was the Pharaoh during that time. So you can see how so many different parts of history overlap, how different events in the scriptures go with different ancient periods of history that you may not have remembered go together. Oh, here's the title, The Ultimate Bible Fun Book. I'll try to find that and link that if it's still available. So anyway, you can see all the different fun things that you can add in to your history timeline. Another thing that is great to add into your history timeline, I have this under our start for early American history. Here's the colored sheet again, and then here's the one that your child could color if they prefer that. Is the history cards that are available in my bookstore. They are super, super good to use for review, for games. I have all of that included, lots of pages of games that you can play with these history cards for review. But also, you can print out a copy or a set of them to go in your history timeline to be kind of divider pages for American history. Actually, I have them all the way from ancient civilizations all the way through modern American history. If you are using the American Girl history, you will have lots and lots of additions for your timeline in the printable power packs. So I have included, I'm going to add these to the packet today. This is the timeline dividers for all of the American Girl units that I have that are free, by the way, on my website. So you can see this is for Kaya, for the Native American unit. 1764 is the start date for Kaya. You can add the people, events, places, and other little notes of things you discover. And these are the part of the printable power pack that you can use and add for each one. One of the really full ones that I have printed out that I want to show you is under Modern American History, and it is the World War II Mali unit. This is part of the printable power pack. So here are the pages for the divider for that. And you have all about Mali. You can add copy work, and you could do this for any of the topics that you are studying. This is just an example, but add your kids' copy work, quotes from famous people. There's a World War II timeline that's more specific that you could add. Here was one of the creative writing assignments. Put that in there too. It's great for your timeline. December 7th, 1941. Find out what was happening and make this creative writing assignment part of the timeline edition. Maps. Maps are a great part of a timeline because just like everything else, when you're reading, very quick and easy to access. If you decide to separate your history binders into people, places, and events, like this was the divider, the history detective pages and the printable power packs, or ones that you make yourself, are an excellent, super easy way to include the recognition of certain famous people in history that they will surely hear over and over again throughout all their studies and throughout all their lives. They will know where in history those people fit in. Visually, they'll be able to remember flipping through the pages. If you don't believe me, my children still remember their history binders that we kept for all these years. And we usually kept them through one full cycle of chronological history, meaning when we'd start in ancient civilizations, we'd work our way all the way through modern American history, and we'd start all over again. So we usually kept them at least one, maybe two whole cycles of history study. It was so fun to look back over the years and see the improvements in their writing and everything else. So not only is this a great way to study history, it makes so many sweet memories. I still have my little girl's history binder. It looks very rough. It has been through many international moves and everything else, but I still have it, and I think you probably will want to keep yours as a memento too, perhaps. Anyway, yep, so you can add scientists, you can add, Corrie ten Boom was great, the inventor of the radio, so more science, invention, Anne Frank, lots and lots of people, places, and events that you can add. So what else would you add to your history binders? A few things that we like to add. We love these Kids Discover magazines. If your kids have a certain magazine that they love, that is, then they get a episode of it that has something to do with a period of history. This is a great addition to your timeline. We just would stick them into these clear pages like this and put them right in wherever they go. This one is for the Civil War, for Abraham Lincoln. That was good. The other thing I love to add is the arts. So add, if you have these Dover coloring books, these are great, by the way, and they cover tons and tons and tons of different artists, all the way through modern art. So find one of these, print out a page. This one was from 1888. This will be great. You could add it right before the turn of the century unit. And that way they're learning the artists and other types of people, not just, like I had mentioned before, historical folks. So Draw Right Now is also another great series. I think I have an example in here that my daughter also did from years ago. Many of their books include a certain period of time. So this one is Native Americans, North America, and the Pilgrims. Let's see if I can find one that is particular. This would have been really good for the Josephina unit for Southwestern America. But this would talk about the Hopi Indians, for example. And so they give you very simple step-by-step instructions on how to draw the picture. And then they have a handwriting or copy work, whichever you'd like it to be, sample on the bottom for your kids. So anyway, great addition for timelines, really fun. And the last thing I wanted to mention that is great to add into your timeline is whatever kind of text you're using. The American Girl units don't use a text like this. They use the American Girl Welcome to Kaya's World or whoever's world. So that they don't have as many things like maps and all. But if you're using the free Ancient Civilizations study all the way up through the Modern America, I use mostly A Child's History of the World and the Story of the World series as a spine. And so these books all have very clear, simple maps included, which I love because you can add in what you want without the distraction of a lot of other things that you're not talking about quite yet. If you keep your binders for more than 1 year or more than one cycle of history, the more depth you study, and you can even go back through and add to the same map. So these are great. Make a photocopy of it, enlarge it if you'd like, and then just add it in. That was one from A Child's History of the World. And then this one is a little bit different, but you can see how clear and plain these maps are. Believe it or not, it's still really hard to find good maps that you can print for free online that are very plain and clear and basic, where children can add in what you want them to as you study through. So I hope that this will help you get an idea and get a picture of kind of what a history timeline could be. Yours is going to look totally different, and it will be something that that reflects your family. If you love to draw or color, or you just rather print things out and add to your timeline, you can do that too. So if you have any questions, leave me a question. Let me help. I'd love to answer any questions you have about creating a history timeline or anything else.